Here it is, the hybrid truck making the entire global market sit up straight. Ranger PHEV 2026, towing 3.5 tons while sipping just 3.1 liters per 100 kilometers. And yes, it's already rolling out in Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. What about the US? Nope. Ford says Maverick Hybrid and F-150 Hybrid are enough. Adding another one would just cause chaos. Pop the hood and you'll see why. A 2.3-liter EcoBoost engine teamed up with a 75-kilowatt electric motor, delivering 275 horsepower and a monstrous 690 newton-meters of torque. 690 newton-meters means you can haul a boat to the lake while your fuel gauge drops slower than your neighbor's Wi-Fi signal. The 11.8 kilowatt-hour battery gives you up to 45 kilometers of pure EV driving, enough for commuting, grabbing coffee, and getting home without burning a drop of gas. Gasoline only joins the party when you're towing a mountain of lumber or flooring it like you own the highway. And the best part? This isn't some city-only soft hybrid. Ranger PHEV was born for off-road, heavy towing, and making diesel owners scratch their heads wondering, wait, a hybrid can do that? What do you think? Drop 3.5 tons in green in the comments if you think diesel fans might start Googling import Ranger PHEV 2026 tonight. Remember that 690 newton meters from the last part? Yeah, the kind of pulling power that could rescue a small town. Now picture this. You just hauled a boat to the lake, barely sat down to catch your breath, and suddenly the Ranger PHEV 2026 turns into a mobile power station. Ford calls it Pro Power Onboard, 6.9 kilowatts. What does that number really mean? It means you can plug in a concrete drill and set up camp in the middle of nowhere. Drop a dual-burner induction cooktop in the bed and cook a feast big enough for a tailgate party. And yes, fire up a coffee machine, because coffee is never optional. And you'll still have juice left to charge a drone for those cinematic slow-motion shots worthy of your Instagram reel. Here's the best part. You don't need to keep the engine running. This system draws power directly from the 11.8 kilowatt-hour battery or seamlessly from the hybrid engine. So while you're chilling on a folding chair with a fresh cup of coffee, the Ranger PHEV hums quietly like it's meditating. No more diesel roar just to light up a single camping lantern. Now think about the job site. Normally you'd drag around a bulky generator with miles of tangled cords. With Ranger PHEV, hit Pro Power, plug it in, done. Fuel saved, space saved, dignity saved. Because honestly, showing up with a giant generator in the back isn't exactly stylish. And this isn't just weekend fun. In Australia, some tradies are already running welders straight off the Ranger PHEV all day. 6.9 kilowatts isn't toy power, it's the real deal. This hybrid doesn't just sip fuel, it replaces half your toolkit. Heck, if you're the creative type, this truck could double as a mobile coffee bar. Espresso machine on one side, menu board on the other, add a few folding chairs, and congratulations! You've just launched the first pickup cafe in town. Diesel owners will just scratch their heads and mutter, "Since when did trucks come with wall outlets?" From towing 3.5 tons to powering your tools or your coffee habit, the Ranger PHEV is rewriting what a hybrid truck can do. And trust me, we're just getting started. If you're loving this tow, cook, and charge lifestyle, drop a portable power station in the comments. Let's see how many of you are ready to join the hybrid crowd. Remember that walking power outlet from the last part? Now it's time to unlock the secret behind it, the 11.8 kilowatt-hour battery. Smaller than a full EV battery by 4 or 5 times, yet powerful enough to drive this hybrid truck up to 45 kilometers in pure electric mode, while also doubling as a job site generator. Think lightweight boxer with knockout punches. First, let's clear this up. This is a liquid-cooled lithium-ion battery designed for rapid discharge. It's not built for 500-kilometer road trips like a full EV. It's built to do exactly what Ford intended: deliver instant torque, run electric when it matters, and power your tools in the middle of nowhere. The result? 3.1 liters per 100 kilometers WLTP, enough to make diesel owners stare at the fuel economy chart in silence. Here's where it gets clever. Thanks to its smart parallel series hybrid system, The Ranger PHEV plays its cards perfectly. City driving? It runs electric. Hauling up a mountain or towing heavy? Gas engine jumps in like backup muscle. Camping or at a work site? The battery handles it all. No loud, smoky idle needed. And for those laughing at just 11.8 kilowatt hours, remember when people mocked 12 megapixel cameras, only to watch them shoot photos sharper than reality? Same story here. The battery might be small, but with intelligent energy management, it stays in its sweet spot, extends its life, and you'll never worry about it dying in the mud. And don't forget, with 690 Newton meters of torque, this battery doesn't just sit there looking pretty. It feeds instant power for off-road climbs or 3.5-ton towing. Diesel trucks need a running start. This hybrid, it just flexes. And here's where the twist comes in. The smaller battery means the Ranger PHEV isn't bloated. It only weighs about 200 to 250 kilograms more than the diesel version, so it keeps its payload and frame strength. It's like seeing a quiet guy in glasses at the gym, then finding out he can deadlift a small car. And the magic move? Picture this. You're out in the woods, draining power for hours, and the truck just auto-fires the engine to recharge itself. That's not just hybrid tech. That's hybrid that doesn't know how to quit. So if you ever laughed at hybrid batteries as toys, it might be time to laugh at yourself instead. Drop a small battery, big punch in the comments if you're starting to see why this 11.8 kilowatt-hour pack is way more dangerous than it looks. Remember that 690 Newton meters from the last part? This is what turns the Ranger PHEV 2026 from a fuel saver into an off-road warrior that shuts every skeptic up. First thing first, this isn't your city hybrid afraid of mud. The Ranger PHEV keeps its ladder frame chassis tough enough to survive a construction site, four-wheel drive with a locking rear differential, and Ford's full terrain modes. Mud, sand, gravel, you name it, it's there. Now picture this. You're towing a trailer that weighs a ton, staring up a 30-degree dirt climb. A diesel truck would roar and build speed. The Ranger PHEV, thanks to instant electric torque, it just pulls, like someone quietly pushing you from behind. No drama, just grip. And here's the part that silences the old-school truck crowd. The hybrid system actually makes downhill engine braking smarter. Every time you lift off the pedal, that electric motor recaptures energy while slowing the truck down. Result, less brake fade, no burnt smell, and way more confidence when hauling heavy loads downhill. Water weighting? No problem. The battery's mounted high, fully sealed, and tested to wade through 800 millimeters, exactly like the diesel. Translation, this hybrid doesn't panic at the sight of water. It dives in, same as the old-school workhorses. And here's the sneaky advantage, pure electric off-road mode. Imagine creeping through the woods with nothing but the sound of tires on dirt. No engine noise, no revving. It's part truck, part predator. So no, hybrid didn't make the Ranger soft. It gave it instant torque, smarter braking, and a quiet side that diesel can only dream about. If you used to think hybrids don't belong in the mud, drop a "Mud Calls PHEV" in the comments, and let's see who's brave enough to send this truck straight into the swamp. You just saw the Ranger PHEV 2026 walk through mud like it was nothing in the last part, right? Now it's time for the part gas station owners hate the most, the kind of efficiency that kills their business. Ford claims 3.1 liters per 100 kilometers WLTP. But here's where it gets fun. If you mostly drive in the city and plug it in every night, the first 45 kilometers are all electric. That means some owners will go an entire week without even touching a gas pump. Somewhere, a diesel truck is just idling wondering, where did all my customers go? To make it crystal clear, city driving on battery, 0 liters per 100 kilometers, as long as you plug it in. Mixed driving, 3 to 4 liters per 100 kilometers, less than half of what diesel drinks. Towing heavy or mountain climbs? Sure, it uses more fuel, but still saves 25 to 30% compared to diesel. And charging? That 11.8 kilowatt-hour pack costs just a few bucks on home electricity. For the same money, a diesel truck might only be able to keep the AC running while you complain about fuel prices. Here's the kicker for the old-school crowd. Ranger PHEV doesn't just slash fuel bills. It cuts brake wear with region braking, reduces engine noise, and makes city driving eerily calm. Red light, engine off, silence, just the hum of the AC. Maintenance nerds will love this. The 2.3-liter EcoBoost shares its bones with the gas version, but works less, revs lower, and lasts longer. Bottom line, with this PHEV, gas stations become nothing more than a place to grab bottled water. If you've ever emptied your wallet at a fuel pump, comment "Goodbye gas station," and let's see how many people are ready to give gas stations an extended vacation. You just heard how the Ranger PHEV 2026 is draining gas stations dry in the last part. Now let's step inside. Buckle up. This is no longer a worksite pickup. It's more like a mobile office on wheels. First up, the centerpiece, a 12-inch Sync 4A touchscreen. It's so responsive that every tap registers instantly. No more double tapping because you thought it lagged like an old truck head unit. And the digital instrument cluster, it shows everything. Battery level, instant torque, even regenerative energy flow. It's like learning applied physics while you drive. Seats? The Wildtrak PHEV gives you leather-trimmed, power-adjustable, heated seats. Forget the back-breaking work truck bench. This is the kind of seat that makes you want to drive an extra 50 miles just because it feels that good. Now for the gadget lovers. Wireless phone charging, USB-C ports, plus a full 220-volt household outlet. And yes, over-the-air software updates. Because apparently trucks now update like smartphones. Going on a long off-road trip? Ranger PHEV has your back. 360-degree cameras, an underbody view, and hill descent control. Ford knows truck owners don't want accidental roller coasters, so they gave you tech that saves both your tires and your nerves. And here's the quiet roast. Old school truck guys used to brag, "My truck's got AC, that's all I need." Now, Ranger PHEV lets you charge your laptop, run a Zoom call, and sip coffee brewed from the truck bed. Somewhere a diesel owner is rolling down their window just for airflow. If the idea of a pickup that doubles as a mobile office excites you, drop "Meet me in the Ranger" in the comments, and let's see who's ready to sign contracts right from the tailgate.
All right, let's wrap this up. The Ranger PHEV 2026 isn't here to look green or win a few eco points. This thing is a straight-up upgrade to everything you thought you knew about hybrid pickups. Who should buy it? Contractors. Need to tow heavy loads and power tools without hauling a separate generator? This is your truck. City truck lovers? Want the tough pickup look but hate watching your wallet vanish at the gas pump? Done. Off-roaders? Instant torque, whisper quiet electric crawling. Yes, you'll hear leaves crunch under the tires. Mobile cafe dreamers? That 6.9 kilowatt Pro power outlet is basically a Starbucks license on wheels. Who shouldn't? If you live for that diesel rumble just to flex on your neighbors, this PHEV might feel, too polite. If you hate plugging in or don't care about tech, stick to diesel. The Ranger PHEV isn't here to convert the stubborn. Availability? For now, it's rolling out across Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. The US? Not yet. Ford says the Maverick Hybrid and F-150 Hybrid have that covered. 2026 might bring surprises, but until then, gray imports are your only ticket if you can't wait. Bottom line, this truck tows 3.5 tons, drives 45 kilometers electric, powers your campsite, and still has enough grit to make diesel owners rethink their life choices. From the worksite to the weekend coffee run, it covers it all. Think this is the truck that could finally make you ditch diesel? Drop "Lock the Ranger PHEV" in the comments. And don't forget to hit subscribe, because Carcry isn't done pulling kings off their thrones yet.